Yes, morning to my Facebook and YouTube viewers. I'm here this morning to deal with a little issue. You know, I have to deal with it from get-go because what I'm intending to do is I'm intending to bring awareness to Trinidad of the importance of woodwork and trade and the importance of using your hand, right? And what I do is I write some things up on my page, and I write some things to see if I can engage people in certain discussion as a way that we can help the youth in the form of trade, right? And as you do that, right, because everybody is entitled to their own idea, their own view to things, even like musicians, even politicians, businessmen, everybody's idea is what counts. So the idea that some people might think, well, listen, because I am being very educated, and my idea alone counts, is not a very good idea, right? So when I write, and I don't, this is for people who think that I'm supposed to put punctuation in my speech or in my writings. I am not using punctuations here now while I'm speaking, so that I can show you that punctuation, that is neither here nor there. The point what I'm trying to say is the message in terms of the youth, right? And I know that I'm going to be bombarded with a lot of people with these ideas. You see these ideas that they have how things supposed to be through their eyes alone. I know that people is going to be, so I'm going to deal with, I'm putting a video here to deal with every time somebody puts up something like that, I can, post this video so they can go and see, and so because remember you're posting something on my page or on my page on a comment, right, in sometimes what I would deem a negative form. It's just a force of people say negative, it's just an idea that is not with what I am, and the first thing I get up in the morning this morning, because I stayed in last night, this is a hell of a thing, you have people in Trinidad here, I try to show them how to do trade, and like nobody deems that is important, you understand? And we're putting so much emphasis on what is considered to be the education, the punctualities of or whatever the word is, to put things in place, and at the end result, it's not helping anybody. So that idea needs to be built on or take away or some kind of thing like that, right? So, and I am here, up here, I am just part of an idea, part of a driving force that whether or not you like it in Trinidad here, you cannot stop it. It is a driving force that is moving. The idea that people are supposed to use their hands is either we get on board or we're going to have to pay one of these people 20 years down the line to come here to teach people furniture, something that is that is a natural human function, to use his hands. It's a driving force world over, So the idea, I'm going to deal with this one first, that some people who are very educated, and when I deep educated in an English system, right, that gives you words that creates a great thought in your head that sometimes does not exist, because you can't tell me other people in a language understand it that way. That is for me not to think. But some people here think that there is no need for somebody, youths, to learn a trade. Because the world is going modern, they use their hands, and the world is going modern. That is not a very good idea. I mean, when you look at the world stage where I am today, and I am teaching people to do certain things, like a certain little thing, right? When you look at the driving force in some places, in places like the UK, it is there, the evidence is there. And you look on certain pages, you're going to see thousands of people against just a few of your ideas. And you go to other parts of the world and you're going to see that. It is a driving force that we either get on board with in Trinidad here, or we're going to have to import a lot of things that we can have people right here in Trinidad, right, doing. And I am using furniture, but there's a lot of other things, because we have leather work, we have, all the art forms that we import. We have people right here capable, but apparently we have nobody to teach it, and we are not seeing the importance of that. While we are spinning all around in the circle, and we are asking, what are we to do? Right? We even have people come and explain the situation in terms of religion. I have no problem with that, because everybody is entitled to their views when they speak to the masses, right? But I do not see in no way how, if every youth in Trinidad here accepts some form of religion, it's going to help their economic status. Right? So that is not a very good idea. The evidence behind that is not a good idea. Even if all of us were educated with 10 passes, the people with 10 passes, right, they cannot, and if all of us end up with 10 passes, we're still going to have to import things from outside. So the idea in a lot of these people educated, in a lot of these educated people who is deemed to be educated in a system where I went through, that to me made no sense, because if you notice that, I learned nothing in school. I learned only primary school primary school teaching, you know, comprehension, composition, and verbal ability. And with that I can form my own thought. Right? So the idea behind a lot of people saying, you know, we have no need for trade. What, you think you're going to have robots that's going to come and build your house? You think you're going to have robots that's going to come and build your chairs? If there is robots that's going to put down your tiles? That is not a very good idea. You need to formulate and you need to build another idea. You see, so when other people are trying to come with another idea, what you have to do is you have to come towards that idea with another idea that helps. Because we have been festering. It's that in a lot of not, I want to use any word, not so good ideas, and it's not helping the youth of Trinidad and Tobago. So here I am up here trying to tell people, well, these pieces of splinters that have all working in a woodwork shop, they always fall out in your clothes. But anyhow, I'm teaching people how to make little things like shells, you know. This is the first video, you know, that I am doing, right? I'm doing teaching. And, you know, because of that, with people with different ideas, we have a man who is here, he's not learning trade, he's a builder, he's been building. But he would decide to have another idea that he can make money. He came here. And this is what his own ideas of shelving based on other ideas. So I think that is a good idea. And I know that it can help a lot of the youth if they use it. So to the people who think that they're going to be coming on my page because because I don't speak with full stops and commas and all this kind of thing in a language that was recently created in terms of history, all of you who did history. So you know that there was a time that idea did not exist and the world was functional based on builders. So I am not saying that the whole of Trinidad and Tobago is supposed to come today and just give up, you know, their academic studies because we need somebody to run this system. I am not here to awaken everybody, you know. It's just for the few people who have ideas like me, who can build things like these, who can take furniture building to another level in terms of furniture building. I'm not speaking about building on old ideas from 18th century because the world is already ahead of that. And it's a very lucrative market that we are dealing with here in terms of furniture building in the Caribbean here. And I think it is going to be a very good idea for us to build on it because we have a hotel industry that we're supposed to think. Mind you, people, the idea that, you know, some people have the idea that they're cutting down the forest. They're growing trees in the desert. That is information. So that's not a very good idea. And if you throw that, that's not a very good idea. That's for another topic. But so, we will always have lumber as we go along, once we continue to plant. Some of you know, it falls and grows there. So the idea that one day we're not going to have any lumber, that is not a very good idea. Because the world is planting trees in the desert where they never had anything, and you can go and check it. It's all about YouTube and Facebook. Right? What I'm saying is that when we do, we learn to do furniture in a different way and put it out in a different way. It can be helpful, and everybody is going to get a piece of the pie. If you understand what I'm saying. There's going to be the man with the small workshop. He's going to think his community. There's the man who don't want the hassle of the workshop, and he's going to be able to fuel what is considered the men who would like to have a big establishment and export furniture from Trinidad, if you know what I mean. In other words, they're going to, instead of the thick leaves Trinidad, try and understand, in lumber, it can live in different pieces of furniture and then get more money. And you know, the father who has one piece like me, some part of the world might want it. So that's one. The hotel industry, it is going to be nice in the hotel industry that if somebody comes to visit the land of the Caribbean, the land of the pan, the land of the steel pan, they can get furniture that, you know, is how to put it, that reflects on the culture of Trinidad, because we have people of the idea, which I'm giving you, that you can incorporate that idea into furniture. Right? And it's really nice to have a whole hotel and the master bedroom is designed different, because things that are different is what sells. The same ideas do not sell. When people come from outside, what they do is they come here to have a different experience. Not just until, so the furniture would be a very good idea. We, you know, places like Tobago where we're looking to expand, and the world is going eco-friendly, right? So we're going to have as a Caribbean country. There's another part of it that you have to understand. We live on an island. I mean, we all think away the idea that we can get a natural disaster. But what happens if we get a natural disaster? Like what is happening in the past? We think that thought away, but let's just see. We're going to have a bunch of people here who have no idea of using their hands. We're going to sit around and look for air to pound a hammer as a natural function, because we had a lot of people who deemed that tradesmen like myself and people of other art form had no place in society, but they cannot build a house. That is not a good idea. You understand? That is for if we have natural disaster. What about the government buildings? It would be nice to see, because I keep telling people, I've been in this 20 years. So when when we used to go to the Salvatore building and other parts of the building, we would see handmade furniture from Trinidad, right? In those buildings, right? And when they were in that building, you know, it would be a nice, you know, people come from outside and they see the talent and the skill of the people of Trinidad. You don't want to come, a man comes from his country and see all the furniture that is imported. You know, these things are creating ideas to create and help people. You don't need a piece of paper in a language that tells you how to think. The situation is right before you. You come out of the box and look at the situation and think about it. And form your own ideas. You know? So I have to put these things forward one time. As they say, let's lay down the ground rules for people who's going to come to my page, because I am going to be talking about things. I'm going to be talking about a lot of things, because everybody has their 2 cents on how things are supposed to be. And most of you, none of those ideas are working, because I can show you, for instance, I have Ravindra Ali, who is a better joiner than a lot of people. He can spray, he can restore antique furniture, he can stain, he can work other parts of, he can build cupboards, and he's good, because his work I'm going to show on the internet. Right? We have Kevin, we have Kellyanne, we have Marcus here. He was always a builder, and because of the idea that I had that could take us somewhere else, an idea of creation, they're here, and they're learning ways for them to move forward. That is supposed to be the basis of education, I think. You know, I'm not an educated man. You forget. This is for the people who tell me about the punctuation. But most of the time, the job that you are working on, you cannot go on the international stage like where I am here and explain simple, because you don't understand it well enough. I understand what I'm doing well enough. That's why I'm up here. You must view my comments, and if there is anybody who wishes to share, because I am sharing information with people of other ideas who have, you know, bigger ideas. You know? So I cannot, so from get-go, if you know that you cannot, because of my writing, you might think that I have Star Wars between my head, as somebody tells me. Oh, some people even use it to, he didn't even have ideas. I have a lot of ideas, and I can create ideas as fast as this. I can build this, and I want people to understand what I'm saying, who thinks that I am up here, to see if I can get some kind of promotion. I'm not doing no custom made for me. I want to see if I can get, because if I decide to expand, where am I going to get the people? Who has the idea? You know, we don't have no idea, and the furniture that we are building in Trinidad and Tobago, mind you, it cannot sell nowhere. You cannot go on the international stage on YouTube and speak anything about furniture. So you need to upgrade yourself. You know, I even hear people with the idea, oh, we have some brand name furniture, and you know, to think that this name, the name that creates a thought in your head, the builders, the machines that produce these things are better than people who can produce this. But the handmade furniture of the world, if I'm going to give you some examples, there is some furniture that is replicas of ancient Nubia and ancient Kemet. They are sold on auctions in other parts of the world for a lot of money for people who want to go and see, who speak about name brand furniture that they get in Trinidad. There is name brand designers who have their own line of furniture. There's parts of the United States where you can go in certain stores and malls where only have designer furniture. It does not start in TT, right? There's furniture that is made in Hawaii, solid wooden furniture, and the beds they would start for, you know, different prices, you know, a few thousand, well, right? And they're not mass producing it. It's a way that, you know, people that are there who are skilled like myself, right? People like myself who have skill, people like myself in other parts of the world can live. They can trade, and we can build something on it. You don't come onto a page that you see people been trying, I've been writing, I write something because, you know, people think that writing doesn't create an intent. It's a thought process. You have to learn. People have to learn. There are a lot of people out there, they have to learn. You understand? Learn to think for yourself and don't be told how to think. You are not dealing with somebody who, you know, because they were all right. Look at what I can create. You have to get the message within what I can create. There is nobody that is willing, even in Trinidad here in Woodwork, who is willing to come up and test me on the world stage. Look at the comments under my video, my videos, and you're gonna see. I'm on the world stage. If you go up there and you don't know what you're doing, I'm teaching people how to cut fretwork. There's going to be a list, a whole list that people is going to tell you you don't know what you are doing, and I'm not seeing that. If I put on, if I decide to sell these ideas, mind you, to other parts of the world in terms of building furniture, right? In Trinidad, the style that Trinidad has and wants. I mean that the world wants Caribbean furniture. You know, the mahogany's and the Canaans, right? Canaan, we have it there, but we're going to import it soon. And we showed you the wooden furniture. If I decide to go up and give people on the world stage an idea how they can take these things here, how it's done, scale and proportion, how many people you think from another country is going to join? That is the next thing I am going to do, because I am not going to be bombarded with what I consider to be thoughts that do not help the situation. I am not going to take that. That's why I am not doing furniture again. Most people used to tell me, you know, and I have some friends that I have to deal with one time. In one video, I'm going to sum it up and deal with all. The people who have the idea and the other fellow who is telling me, mind you, my friends, you are sending information into my head that makes no sense. You understand? For people that say, like, who does tiles. If you have the idea and the knowledge how to build tiles, would you go for somebody that imports tiles to give you a job to put it down? I can build furniture. So what you're trying to tell me that I should not build these things here because you don't have an idea in your head to move your physical body forward. You're telling me that I should stop building these things and go and take the hassle, right? You know, somebody else's problem, somebody else's idea. That is for my friends who tell me that I should not stop, that I should continue to take aid, but aid helps no one. You see, aid does not create the idea in your head for you to do for yourself. So no form of aid, the only way that a man's physical body is going to get anyway is the information that is put into between his ears here, that he can process and create an idea. You know? So I think that is that, you know, I have to do this. You know, to the people who might say, well, Chilean, don't study these people. Because if I don't study you, somewhere in your mind you're going to go away thinking that you have a better idea than me because you are uneducated, but you cannot build it. And if I put this and my work up against your knowings of the English language on the world stage, you have to remember, few countries speak proper English, brother. You don't pause in a sentence. Not because of the job status that you have, right? Why I'm doing this here, because I am not going to be bombarded with people with all these ideas. You remember I am split in two. In other words, all the way down, and I use both sides. Both of them. Effectively. In terms of my hands and my brain. and my thinking and my creation. So don't think because words can give you what is considered in your mind to be a superior thinking, to come on my page when I am doing something to uplift the youth of Trinidad and Tobago, what you cannot do. Please don't do that. This is for the video for people who's coming with that idea. I am part, and I want you to listen to understand of a driving force that you cannot stop, because you've seen it in all parts of the world. It's going to be here. The people with the idea that it's not supposed to happen is going to be people like the people with the idea that they're never going to get a computer because they have the best handwriting. For you to trade now, you have to be on the internet. So that was a very bad idea, because you refuse to learn, you refuse to unlearn and relearn. You understand? People have been telling you that all the time. You understand? It is said, and I'm going to leave you this. This is not my idea. It is an idea that was passed to me. It was said in simple words. The illiterate of the day is not going to be those who cannot read and write. Right? It is those who refuse to what? Unlearn and then learn in simple terms and my terms. But you know, you have people swinging up all the way. Right? It is said, survival